Hello everyone, I am Palpatine001 aka the Senate, and we are back with Cities Skylines 2 Manukau Ranges part 1.1. So 1.0 was the founding and the establishment of the transport, at least some of the infrastructure for Manukau Ranges, based on a custom map. Link will be in the description below. Currently we're facing south to north, west to east. So the sun will go in that direction. As you can see, it's a mainland map punctuated by technically two rivers, one split, flowing out into a bay. I'll flip to my favourite viewpoint because this is the way it works. So facing west to east, south to north. And you can see it punctuates out into islands and to harbours. Now you can see I've already started a stab at through 1.0 and then off screen before heading into this of 1.1, of which we'll be covering energy, water, the other forms of infrastructure such as rubbish and some of the civic infrastructure. And then in 1.2 we'll cover the zoning, yay, and then 2.0 we shall let rip. So as you can see, basically three parts have been established using transport for starters, and this is where our development will take off. So you've got the city centre with central station and the bus station. We have the port, cargo port. We've got some signature industry to get us going, as well as a little town to establish that. And then over here I've decided to put back in the cruise terminal. Didn't with Glenbrook, did with Cape Slera, will with Manukau Ranges. You can see the highway in and around, and the rail system at the moment goes through here. If I remember properly, I think it actually terminated here, so it doesn't actually go out any further. That I've got to build. So basically it came down from these 2 points and terminated in here. This of course will get extended out. So you've got the three establishment points: Manukau City Centre, the port, Wurri Town and Wurri. So the main industry will start here, and in Kaimai Valley, which will be a little tourism area. Also got the rail hub ready to go. So if we start zooming in, you'll notice the transport, and some of the transport's already extending out as we cover for the islands. Just take note of this one, which way the wind is blowing. So it is blowing basically from south to north, with some bending around depending which way it is going. So it's okay to establish the industry in here because the wind flows out here. However, don't establish big polluters like and I'll show you the big two that are the worst at it. Oh, okay, I've still got them in here. Yes, I did leave them in here. Yay. Such as the... No, not that one. Where is it? The recycling centre. That leaves quite a bit of pollution on the way, especially water pollution. And air pollution. And the other one being, it's the signature industry. There's two of them that are pretty noxious. One being the paper factory, and the other one being the car factory, since I find out where it's the vehicle factory. Those two are pretty noxious, so even though the wind flows this way, sticking them over here would not be productive because it could flow over into here. It's more likely that these boys would have to be stuck over here when I eventually get out that way. Landfill's not a problem per se. Don't usually have problems with that. So we go back over. Yeah, you would want it because it goes straight out. So this would be actually, that would be also a good place to establish forestry. So that would be a good place to establish and get some other mining going across. Now, this, what we touched on briefly, resources. Okay, so it's pretty much everywhere. As a case of where do I want to establish it, it's more likely to be up this way. So we won't have any extractive or farming in that to necessarily kick us off yet, unless I decide, oh, it's all too far away. I shoot back up this way. Yeah, we've got forestry, oil, or you gotta remember I can add this as well. Keeps it away, which is going to establish another industrial complex here. So could establish the geothermal plant. Could establish a rock plant up here, but it's all going to come down to it's the way the wind. So could actually even get could get some ore off the ground here. Ore and forestry are the big two you need to get going, as well as food. Actually, I could establish farms up here as well. Let's take a look. Ah, it's all set to go for farming too, so this would be a good area to establish your first round of farms. Oil, that I don't chase up till later in game. So this would be a good area to get a little farm off the ground. That's oil, I think, believe, sitting underneath. Oh, is the entire map covered with oil? Let me test that theory. No, oil is located elsewhere. In fact, it's actually all the way over here. So actually there is no oil on the side. That's good to note. So we've got farming, which we've just set up. Stone, which we've just set up. And so we could work back along, it'll show up better. Okay, so we can establish that. And forestry. If I was to establish forestry, it would be up here, so. Although that said too. Vegetation. This is Northern Hemisphere map. Edible nuts. Heh. Okay, so that. Young. Forestry mode. This would be a good one to actually get forestry set up in. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, this one would be a very good one to get forestry in. Okay, so we can get 3 of our 4 extractives off the ground. Sorry, just a bit of a sidetrack to easy keep it. And Wolfie says, isn't that cheating? No, you plant forests anyway. And as for farming, well, that's called fertilizer and toiling the ground. So those two you can get away with. Me, with ore, consider that I did a better LiDAR deep ground penetration radar. So this is a case of might have been able to get forestry off that one quickly. It just depends on how well it's going to go. However, we can and we'll just see how it's going to take. We're probably going to have to wait for it to establish itself first before I can really get it off the ground. Get some elders off the ground. Okay, that works fine. And oh, I've already established roundabouts here and here too. Woohoo! Well, that's good to know. Guess what? I'll put in another one. Nothing too big. Ah, just got to watch out. I've got the wires coming in through here too when I establish the farming. That's an easy one to deal with. Alright. So that's where we are currently at. Whether I go this way, this way, this way, this way, or this way with the urban formers will be decided at later dates. As you can see, highways, roads, and all that get extended around. Now, what you've also got to be careful of, and I'll turn this on, is you've got to watch your geography and topology, because you can get some pretty steep stuff. Like if I was to take this up, quite steep, which means I've had to often terraform just to... this is an example of getting it down. So I've had to use the sloping tool to often get the terrain down. So that's a lot of earthworks on the move. See, as I said, do it again here. Okay, so essentially where we are with 1.0 is we've got the bones into the city. So we've established the roading, we've established the main roads, we've established the rail, we've got some stations to get us going, bus and road. We've also got cargo stations, we've got our ports, passenger and cargo. We've even got, to get us going, a geothermal power plant and some wind turbines with batteries attached. Small ones, but they'll get going. And we have fresh water. So if I shoot over, we've got fresh water to get us going. We do have a sewer outfall. The reason is the sewer outfall doesn't require jobs. It's just pumping out poo. But the treatment plants do. So you wait till you get your treatment plants going, and away we go. And plus we've got small versions of them too. The Japanese assets prove to be real assets. So if I was to establish our treatment plant, fresh water, don't worry about the deposit, that's for the geothermal. So if I was to establish, so I will put it in, is that under district control? Yeah, renaming. Then what we do is we have these. This increases the purification rate, so this is always good to have. Because you've got to remember with the treatment plant, it's sent back into the network, so it slows down the amount of fresh water I need to draw from the water towers and the water pumps. I think this increases capacity. So that's a good way to get us going. Just out of curiosity, does that... okay. That's good to know. So get him out. So we'll now move on to 1.1 proper and do the energy, water, and other infrastructure. So that's your garbage management. That's a form of it. And then you've got your civic infrastructure. Green infrastructure I always do with zoning. Okay, so there we go. And then what I could do to assist is get a road. I don't think this needs to be attached. No, it doesn't. Well, that's good news. This just boosts capacity of the plant. Okay, so 80% purification rate. And we will, for now, turn them off. Not needed yet, because it employees I want to go elsewhere. So that's sorted. So that's... next one is garbage management. I do not want to place this boy in because he makes a huge mess, ironically, and that's the recycling. So I do have a... So the Japanese ones are good, and plus I've got the smaller ones floating around. I also have the scrap metal as well, which I can attach to the industry when ready. Small and simple landfill, because yeah, I don't want to necessarily, because of the mess that makes, I don't want to necessarily dump it in here. I want to send it out to it, and don't want to necessarily put it near the water either. So again, somewhere over there, or somewhere further back up. Could ironically do it up the hill. That's bound to attract a few people. So what we need, and the incineration plant is soaringly massive as well, as a case of, do I need to be so big so fast? And then we've got the industrial as well, which I'm likely to shove in here somewhere. So options: small incinerator, 700 tons, 3,000. Oh, isn't that cute? Don't need much to get us going yet. You just got to remember, and a little small landfill too, just to get us going. There we go, and I'll chuck in the... And I've got these guys floating around too. So, I was going to say there's more than one way to so-called skin the cat here. Look at that. Okay, then that's already asked. Start small, go large later. Okay, and that's just calling for electricity. Which, I think in this case, I'm actually going to, because we've already got... What are we at, 10 meters? Now, there's going to be another cable that comes out that way, so... Because when I upgrade the plant... See, there's another cable there already, so... And what I can also probably do is extend another cable this way and... Oh, in due time as well. Let me just see... Oh, because he's already connected to the network. Yes, I don't need to necessarily wait. They've already connected low voltage. In fact, that could potentially do a small backlog. So in time also, I would... what I am going to do is... Just... I don't think we've got a connection that over there yet either. So we're using our underground connections. I don't like going over the overland for low volt. Okay, so he's all connected up. He's connected up. Just connected him up. He's connected up. That's connected to a huge big whopping substation. He's all connected up. That will get electricity as soon as I bring the simulator online. So don't need to worry. So we've covered incinerate. Oh, and we've got to get the recycling, small recycling plant, and we'll actually get the Japanese one in. Keep them away from the port assets. Yep. And we now come to using. You can just... I might leave it alone. In fact, in some cases, it is best to leave it alone. This is check. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, okay, there's the garbage trucks, and just to make sure, I'll chuck in them. These ones, these are custom assets. These ones are good for tight or very high density areas, because they don't make a fuss. So this is a good little one to shove in here. And it's actually quite neat. It's quite a cute little asset. So actually it would just be, come along and chuck your stuff in the bin yourself. So, yay. And oh, because if I need to extend the wastewater treatment plant, I would add the Japanese one in, because it's quite small, quite compact, and it doesn't make a mess. Well, not as big a mess as the others. Now, he's got a water tower there. These I like to use as boosters. So we'll shove him in as a booster, and we'll smiley face, some tagging, and of course conserve water. So entertainment. Okay, so that is the infrastructure laid out. Treatment plant is offline until the jobs are sorted. We've got all the main we've got water, power, sorry, the other way around, which means I now come into taxation. No, not taxation. I come into... Actually, no, it's actually services. Electricity. %. And water and sewage is also 86%. And one last thing to do here is... I was going to say, this all should be connected up. So what I can do is... Here we go. Connections are nice. Connections are nice. And then, as I extend, I'll go out the other way. So as I said, power's done, water's done, roading's done, most of the... transit. So we'll switch back into transit quickly, because there's... Well, I've got the rail yards, and I am missing quite a... I've got the bus stations in, but I don't have a bus depot. So let's touch on that very, very quickly. I also just remembered we're missing... not only do we need the bus depots in that, I also forgot the fact that we need our road maintenance. Very, very important. So we'll quickly get these guys in. Haha, our road maintenance potholes will soon be a thing of the past. Yes, yes, yes. Promise these are so low. I should take the habit and also naming things as well. So if I click on vehicles, for example, whoops, it would also help if I can spell. I know where the heck it's come from. Let's shoot back over here. Oh, that's so cute. It still really is. Okay. So that's one, and I need to get a second one in over here. The good thing about this cargo terminal is it also makes it damn good for establishing other forms of infrastructure you might want to necessarily stick in the city centre itself. I don't... Oh, keep that free just in case I do need to. In the city centre area, just a quick note. Transit mall. And again, give this an upgrade. That now leads me to add in taxi depots. I'll worry about later. Buses. Any needs for the buses. Strangely enough, ironically enough, it's not going to fit. And I don't want it next to a thingy, next to an intersection either. Wheels will be rolling soon. Get this down. course, we want e-buses. So if I zoom in, oh, look at all those buses. I forgot where the e-charger went. Of course, more buses, but because the bus depot capacity is so high, I might turn the depot capacity thing down. Where did the wherever it? Oh, they've changed the layout of it too. Maybe they've stuck that one. Anyway, bus depot 1. And to save them trundling along great distances, I should add in a second one. Don't need to add a depot onto an extension onto that. And added that one. As I said, taxi depots I do on demand depending on what I need to do. Okay, so we now have the last pieces of the transport infrastructure in place. Parking is done at will as I need to as I move along. This leaves now covering police, fire and ambulance. Schools I'll decide later on. So first we need to establish, we'll do fire first. So this is the city centre, so let's have a look. We've got options. Preferably one with a helipad. Urban fire station's another good one. I think that's the standard. That would be a good one. It's moving along. It's a case of you get a little bit too much choice some days, and it's like, oh, what's the one I've used? What's the station? I think it's modern architecture one. Yes, it is. So you probably want to match like for like, although sometimes, as I said, sometimes it doesn't quite bloody work because of the gate. Yeah, okay. That one would be a nice little one to get us off the ground. Because it's got the helipad extension in there. Ready to go though. Could be a case of I do see this is a community. It's a large station, but it's that said, if we could oh no, the Chinese stuff might be over the other side. No helipads. Okay, yeah, I think we've had a bit enough of the community firehouse. Yeah, I want the one with the helipad, so it will be. Is that the northeastern one? Yeah, it is. Okay. So I might be doing the zoning might in here might be northeastern. Okay. Yep, that looks fine. And helipad. That just gets us going. And then community fire station and another one on this side. Can sit next to the... Did I just do that as modern architecture? I did, didn't I? Wrong one. Because this will be contain the Chinese one, because it's got the super high density that I need. Try that again. So I need the Chinese one this time. So we add in here. What's this puppy? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. No, I can't fit that in anyway. That's rather large. And that's a small version. Okay, so... Although that said, if I did drop it in... Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, that's a big solder. See, that might be the one we use. So I will stash him. As soon as I find the right tool, I hate when I do that. So we'll stash him. No, sorry, that is not a bulldoze. That is a move. That works nicely too. And of course, add in. Excellent. We'll do each district at a time to make it easier. Okay, so next is the police. So the first one we do is northeastern. And I usually bunch these together. Not always, but usually. So this is the big boy. So we'll add him here. That's the helipad, and then we'll shoot over. So we're doing fire, police, ambulance. Oh, and welfare, because that shows up in the police. We'll now go to China. Oh, okay, so they only have the local police. They don't have the big stuff. So what does modern architecture have? That's cute. Or we go straight to urban. In this case, there we go. So that's got the police in there. Now, the police also includes welfare, which you need to should also be included, and there's quite a lot on what you can do. Citizen Service Centre, Modern City Hall. So technically only need one for this area. So we'll keep him. Where can we keep him? So you have him floating around. And then you've got the various and of course the community kindergartens. Those are cute. I'll do that when I do the education. Just gotta remember them. Of course you've got your big... That one's even bigger. not for now. You only need one city hall. I'll do later. Because you've got all your city halls floating. Oh, I could do it now. Central bank's definitely later. Okay, so city hall's in there. Yay. Ah. Let's make sure it's just capturing these. I don't worry about renaming those. Okay, so it's that, and that just leaves the hospital. So we will go northeast on this one. Now, this one's quite a bit decent sized sod. So only needing one. Let's see that he's a big boy. This one, so it's the helipad. Which one had the dual? That one was quite odd. Was it this one? That's even bigger. What's the capacity of this one? 350, isn't it? 370. I think I swapped it over last time because of its sheer size. It's rather interesting. It's just southwest. Can I get it in for starters would be a better question. This boy was a big boy. Actually, no. Leave it alone for now. I will shoot back under. Decisions. Northeast. Shoot him back in there. So, helipad. Trauma center. This is where you get your capacity from. There you go. Yeah, that's rather Gotham-esque. Then again, Gotham was based on New York. Okay, so that's that done, and that leaves that. So that will now leave me just to do the zoning, which will be northeastern in here, and China through there, just to get the density. So that's covered. Those three schools again, I'll cover. Again later, because that all comes down to where I mush the zones. Okay, so that's that side done. Right, Worry and Kamai Town, Kamai Valley. Okay, so architecture style. That's actually the first choice you have to make. Which architecture style you're going to actually run down. If that's northeastern China, I might go southwest. Down here. And UK on the islands. Okay, so let's add in helipad. Disaster aid response, so he always goes in the back. No, he goes in that's going to interfere with the road. Disaster response and the training tower. Done. So that covers that. What I will do here quickly is reasons. That is a pedestrian road. Okay, so that covers that. Police. Okay, switch over. Southwest. Might shift him just along a little bit. Where's the helipad? Backside, so. No. Okay. There's your problem. It's going to conflict. So you do need to move this over. Okay, which then leaves the hospital. Southwest. I am not going to put in this. That is not needed. A small one here will do just fine. Okay, so that solves that one. And then, of course, again, the welfare centre. Back to the police. Police. Welfare centre. Nothing. Citizen Service Centre. No, that ain't going to cut it. District Hall Community Kindergarten. I'll do that there. Nope. Welfare Office. I think that's the town hall. Oh, I could do that. Looks nah. Japan. Yeah, I think this one looks nice. So spice it up. Done. That means I do probably in good conscience because of the industry there. Shoot back to fire. Southwest. Add one there, and then that just leaves me. Said more of this will be added. Let me just jump over to Kaimai Town, which is still. Yeah, it's quite an interesting bend around, so we'll establish them over here, I think. So what we'll do is just chuck in a road. 90 degrees. Well, that was the wrong one. That's okay. We'll just quickly upgrade that. Okay, so police, and we will go UK on this one, actually. Okay. Oh, because that was Civic. UK. So that's the thing. That means I don't have to worry about jails anytime soon. So that's that. Police, again, UK. Fire station, so that is more engines. And the training tower, or facility. And then that just leaves the hospital and UK. Now this one's a bit poked. That is technically bugged because I can't get in. I'll show you what I mean when I put this in. So you put this in. Okay, so you've got the medical practice. Now you can ambulance station. Oh, it actually is going to allow me to do it. Holy heck, did they actually fix that bug? So now I've got that because you couldn't used to get that in. And then ward extension. Yay, that bug has been fixed. because this used to be redundant without the ambulance station. No point putting in a... Oh, I could put in a service centre. Just a very small one. Again, the Japanese one does it good because these are huge. And I don't necessarily like them. I think these are all city halls. Never mind, found one. Yay! Alright, we've got all our civic infrastructure minus the schools now. So that covers that, and this also covers 1.1. So we've got, to recap, we've done the roads, we've done the rail, done the public transport, well, starting it. We've done the cargo, done some tourism, we've got our water infrastructure in, water pumps and water towers and sewer outfalls, and we'll bring the treatment plant online when we're ready. Got the power, there's a geothermal, there's the wind, and the transmission lines are in. We've got our police, fire and ambulance all set up depending where we are and what we need to do, and which will also dictate the urban layout, or the layout I'm likely to take. So for example, this part of the city centres to be Northeastern American. This side will be China, which will have the tallest stuff, including my absolute favourite, because it's just such a big boy, chunky boy even. The biggest one in the game. Oh, can't wait to put him in. But we're not ready just yet. But what I can, I could do, but it's just going to look exceedingly out of place until I'm ready. And then over here we've done Southwestern USA, and over here is UK. And again, like Glenbrook, I will mishmash the architectural styles as we work our way through. Right, we've got the bones down. So we've got we've got down the transport, got down the power, got down the water and wastewater, got our medical. Oh, deaf care. Haha. Rip. Okay. So we need to put in our deaf care. Deaf care, deaf care, deaf care. Okay, so UK. Well, that one's an easy one to work out where he goes. He can go. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a sign or anything, but he can go there. So that sorts him out. Crematoria. I usually like using crematoria. Snap him in. Oh, whoops. So that's what I've just done, is added an additional incinerator. And yeah, I know. And an extra garage. So that will cover here. Over here, now this has size restrictions, so this is where it gets a little bit fun. So what I'm likely to do is I'll add in the French ones because they're small and they're compact. But I will put in a National Cemetery. I was going to make that an exclusive island. I will put in a National Cemetery. Don't tell me the highway's going to get in the road. Yep. It's a bit nuts. Oh, I could put it here and you can go for a trundle. Decisions. Where to put the National Cemetery. I don't usually keep them near the city centre anyway because of their size. And they take up a lot of room. So he still needs to be placed. It's just a case of where. And I think I'll place him here. And that allows me to add, so this will be the and that now allows me to add the temple. Okay, so the temple increases well-being. It allows me to add whatever that is. And of course, becomes a sightseeing attraction. Woohoo! One last thing before we go, because we've got tram lines. I love trams, I really do. I will add in the tram line. Because we do have trams running around. We will have metro running around as well, so that you don't need to worry, folks, there. Okay. But this is where we're going to leave it for 1.1. As I said, we've got the roads and we've done the roads and the highways, we've done the power, done the water and wastewater, done the healthcare, and this time the death care, done the trash and recycling, done the fire, done the police and what's called administration. And we have set up, we've got the bus depot, we've got the rail yard, we've got rail stations, we've got cargo rail stations, we've got ports, we've got cruise terminals, we've got tram tracks. We're ready to go. Okay, which now just leads me to do the next bit, which we'll do in 1.2. The zones and the local roads to serve them. And the education. And the green infrastructure. So you can see how this all comes together. Roads and rail. We'll try that again, actually. Roads and rail. And then you'll have a base idea through spatial planning where things are going to go, like your industry and towns. So then you can map out your water and energy. And once that's done, you can start dropping down your waste and your civic. You might also have some starter industry or whatever to get you going. Then from there, your public transport will usually kick in. Then from there, we start going into the zones, the education, and not the landscaping, the green infrastructure. And then of course you've got communications as well, which again will be done alongside it. So you can see how this is all playing out. So join me in 1.2 where we will do the zoning, backed up by the local roads. We will do the green infrastructure, so the parks and recreation. We will get down the schools, we'll get down the comms, and we'll start stitching up the public transport, including taxis. And then in 2.0, we let rip and see however I've done a very good job as a mayor, building my 4th Cities Skylines 2 city, or I think this is now my 20th Cities Skylines city if we include CS1. And yeah, either I've done a good job or I'll be shaking my head going, what did I do? Which will be a bit tragic given that I am a planner IRL in real life. So join me next time for 1.2 where we start doing the zones. Oh, and by the way, just a quick thing on zones. The zones in CS1 and 2 and some City 4 that came before it are all standardized. So no matter how many cities you build, where you build them, and which maps they are all standardized. Sound familiar? It might, because Japan does it, as does Germany. So when I do the zones, and when I do 2.0, we let rip, I will go into the methodology of standardized zonings a bit more, given it is part of the reforms here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, with our planning system. In the meantime, I am Palpatine 001, aka the Senate, and as always, plan safe, build safe, drive safe, and as always, it's okay to make mistakes here. At least they won't cost you an arm and a leg as they do in real life. Take care, everyone.